This movie was for straight people. It was not for the gay community.
Everybody in this courtroom is thinking about sexual orientation, sexual preference, whatever you want to call it. Who does what to whom and how they do it. I mean, they're looking at Andrew Beckett. They're thinking about it. They're looking at Mr. Wheeler, Miss Conine, even you, Your Honor. They're wondering about it. Trust me, I know that they are looking at me and thinking about it. So let's just get it out in the open. Let's get it out of the closet. Because this case is not just about AIDS, is it? So let's talk about what this case is really all about. The general public's hatred, our loathing, our fear of homosexuals. And how that climate of hatred and fear translated into the firing of this particular homosexual.
Philadelphia. This is the movie about a lawyer who has AIDS, and he gets fired, and he sues his law firm for wrongful termination. What Denzel says in the courtroom in this scene is exactly the way most people handle, like straight guys handle gay men and the subject of HIV.
Andy brought AIDS into our offices, into our men's room. He brought AIDS to our annual cocktail family picnic.
We ought to be suing him, Bob.
This movie was for straight people. It was not for the gay community. It's important, and I think a lot of people learned from the film, but it's not one of my favorites.
I agree. I do think that this isn't necessarily a film or a narrative that's necessarily speaking to the community itself. There's an attempt to try and humanize HIV and AIDS by casting someone like Tom Hanks, obviously, because they're like, look, like, for the most part in the 80s, we couldn't get an actor to play a queer role that's like HIV positive or has AIDS. I get the tactics behind it, but I do think, agreeing with you, it is a bit transparent that it's specifically kind of meant for someone else.
What can I do for you?
I've been fired by Wyatt Wheeler. Plan on bringing a wrongful termination suit against Charles Wheeler and his partners.
You want to sue Wyatt, Wheeler, Hellerman, Tetlow, and Brown?
Correct. I'm seeking representation.
I was living with HIV then, so like it seemed, oh, well, that's how white people live with HIV, and they can get a lawyer to speak up for them and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, I'm with a small little job doing whatever I can do, hoping no one finds out.
I don't pick up people in drugstores every day.
What, you think I'm gay?
Aren't you?
What's the matter with you? I look gay to you?
Do I look gay to you? Joe, relax.
No, what do you mean relax? You know how to kick your faggoty little ass.
Take it as a compliment, jeez.
You know, that is exactly the kind of bullshit that makes people hate you a little. Faggoty ass.
You want to try and kick my ass, Joe? Asshole.
No, you're the asshole, buddy.
We're having a really nice moment now where, because diversity is happening behind the scenes, it's adding authenticity to stories. So it's like finally these stories are not being told from the outside, they're not being told by people who are like consulting with people. It's actually people's lived experiences. So that, again, really does add authenticity to it. And I do think it's really interesting because I was reading about this film. A lot of the extras that they use were HIV positive. They tried to they engaged with a lot of the organizations at the time. But again, it was like, that's on the periphery of the story, right? Like the middle of the story is still predominantly told by people from the outside. I would love to see a version of Philadelphia that was told, by people who lived that experience at that time.